What's up, Cardfighter? Today I'm doing a special interview with my best friend, but also the first place champion at the Rosemont Premium event, Commander Jaime.
What's
Anything
up,
you like?
amigo? This is how casual we are.
Of
But go ahead,
course.
Ross. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Ah, you're good. You're good. I was just gonna say if you wanted to say anything and you just did your usual shit, you interrupted me.
Awesome.
All right. I got a couple of questions to ask you, as this is my first interview. Figured I would do with one of the most amazing people that I know. Um, Question one. Tell us about yourself for the people that don't know who you are.
Absolutely. So, for those that don't know, I'm Commander Jaime. So, most people know me from YouTube. And so, I do specialize in mainly Aqua Force, but I do other clans. And my theme is more for insightful deck profiles. And I've also started doing more interviews too. So, if you like to see the content for Mindset, that's definitely there for there. And I also am a Metafy coach. So anybody that wants to improve their skill level, I can definitely help them, and it's more catered to the individual, just to make sure that they get results too. And then, of course, I am in the process of making my first book that should be published in November, hopefully by then at that time too. And so, just a little bit about myself, and I am from the Chicagoland area too. So those are in the States. I am also over here.
And a nerd. A big nerd.
And
Look at that hat. You nerd. I had a question for you during that statement, and I already lost it. But don't worry, I'll remember it as we go down. Second question: what was your mindset going into the BCS Rosemont event for pre?
Yeah, so with the metagame, there was a lot to really consider because there's some clans like Gear Chronicle that have MFD. For example, there's Norakami with the new Vowing Reverse cards that just make it really powerful. And now, obviously, Ripple, because that's the deck that I actually took to the event too. So very powerhouse decks to consider. But also everything else is out there too. So there's always a variety of decks that you may face that are also just as good, if not like a tier less in people's eyes. So keeping that in mind, I wanted to take a deck that one I liked and enjoyed too at the same time. And what better time right now with Aquaforce, especially with like Ripples getting a lot of good support. That's part of the reason that I went with Ripples. I'm actually very comfortable with playing with them because I've played with them in the past too, for both competitive and for fun. And I just been at Aquaforce main for 7 years, so I felt like it was a good fit for me. I don't think I would have been just as successful if I were to take like a different deck like MFD or Narakami, for example. And just what I expected with people, they thought Ripples would use certain cards like damage inflictors, which I will get more into the deck details once we get to those questions too. But I felt like I can get around that and also do pretty well still on top of that. So that was my expectation facing those three top decks, and then here a variety here and there. And then I felt like Ripples would do me well, and that was my mindset for the most part.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I was literally just looking at your deck list right now. I didn't get a chance to do it because video games ate up my life. Frustrating. Um, and then the following follow-up question is: care to explain your choice of X cards over what other decks were running? And I'm noticing that you are running four draw, seven crit, and one over trigger. I don't know what the other Ripple decks were running. And but I'm also noticing you're running an original grade two of the Chain Ride, where I had faced a Ripple player
Hmm.
at the premium event. I only faced one Ripples out of 7 rounds. Go figure, right? And he was not running the original grade two of the Chain Ride. So how come you're running the original grade two Chain Ride and anything else that might be different, along with no damage inflictors?
Yeah, definitely. So I guess to get the elephant out of the room, it's really the path, Rav. I made deck changes and I tried a variety of things such as like Valeos and Revon for the grade 3 slots to help reduce your opponent's Vanguard by 5k. I've tried the damage inflictors, and I think that's what people are using for the most part. And because of like damage inflictors, you tend to run front triggers because once you put yourself to 4 damage, Genovius will resend the whole board. So then at that point, you can get maximum value from your front triggers too. But I realized too that if you're playing against a good player, especially if they're not even playing one of the top decks too, they don't want to give you too much damage. So they might keep you at 0, 1, 2 damage at most. Because if once they put you down to 3, it can be dangerous, and all you need is 1 damage inflictor to go to 4 and really just like just win outright. So if you're trying to dig through your combos with Genovius and Odysseus to find damage inflictors, then you miss out on cards like Pursuit Assault or like Narissa or even like Coral Assault, for example. So to set up a proper field more easily at that point. And the one thing that really stood out to me is that I feel like people aren't gonna do that because at that point they would just lose. So I was just like, if I can play 1 or 2 damage, what can I do? And that's why I was starting to go more of the free route. And that's why I play cards like Thavas, for example. You can just rest something and then retire something and then just keep re-abusing it. It was a great card to also get rid of cards like Hano and other like field board in general too, because you can just reset Davos after an Odysseus would just call it out from Saul per copy. So you can retire a whole field that way. And once I got the deck build in mind, I was taking out cards like Satorio out too as well. And what I had forgot to do was to change the original Pathrob into the V series one. Because the original Pathrob needs Satorio in the soul for both its skills to even do something. But as a last minute change, right before registration closed, I had forgotten about that, and when I realized it, it was already too late. So you can't change your deck after once registration is closed at that point. But for me, in hindsight, it worked out. I honestly didn't even use Pathros skill for the V series one. It just isn't that useful, and you'd rather save the soul for other skills. And I think I tried it once in the finals against Ty Smith, who was playing Origami, and I was going second. So I figured I can use that to get like a self +1, an extra card to work with. And I ended up missing the top 7 anyway, so it just didn't work out. So I didn't miss out on anything like that. So with that being said, that's why I went with more crits, the draw still, of course. Also the grade 3 heals, they're so vital to survive because if you do go second against like Ripples or MFD or Norakami, you need those to survive. Because if you don't have any triggers damage checked or it's just like taking as least amount of damage as possible, is much more ideal for you to survive and keep your pieces in your hand, so you can actually do your turn and hope and hope to either come back or finish the turn following that too. But yeah, for that's the most part of it that came into those deck builds, and that's why I also included the Legion leader too as well. So I wanted to not do the infinite loop that I've done in my channel, but I wanted to loop some combo pieces, whether it be Genovius's or Pursuit Assaults or Narissas, and then eventually triggers. Um, so that way you can kind of like take advantage of Odysseus a second time, and you can get to 8, 9 Excel circles, and that'll be like the powerhouse turn that you can just really seal the deal for sure, and not have to worry about like striding or anything like that too as well. So I went with the Legion to help recycle pieces. I also used it to my advantage to abuse Odysseus even more, and then at the same time it just it I didn't have to worry about deck out because some decks try to accelerate and do that play every single time, regardless if that was the right player or not. Because sometimes it's better to stride, but if they do that play too much, their deck gets really low, and so there's a potential of decking out too. So that's one of the things that I appreciate the Legion and also the Grade 1 Nikki to kind of like just keep surviving and having my resources and do my thing. And then, of course, just deck thinning the deck enough to have some powerhouse trigger style. I could even recycle the over trigger too, which when people saw that, they were like, oh my God, that thing is going back in on top of everything else that's going on. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to say about that, Ross.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, I feel like with the Legioning, the triggers and over trigger back, and I feel like people forget if that's a thing that can catch them off guard, if you had to guard with the over trigger, yeah, you put it back and they're like, oh, yeah, Leech is a mechanic and I'm dying.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I faced Kevin Cho in round two, um, I was decking him. I was close to deck out on him. I think I had him under 10 cards after he drew,
Yeah.
a shit ton of cards and all that. And this was first try, and I almost decked him out and all that. And he went Legion 4 fronts back, and I'm like, oh no, I feel in danger. But yeah, when I noticed the grade two, the original trainer, I'm like, hey, Jamie's going for the 10k body. He's pulling a giraffe shenanigans they do. And then when you're like, I don't have the grade one Ripple in deck, I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like,
No,
oh
right?
wait, that's Nikki. Oh hey, damn you,
Wrong grade one.
wrong grade
Basically, yeah.
one. That's not a Ripple grade one. That's the Thav's grade.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely interesting. Was there anything different in the G zone, or was it just like a copy and paste of what everybody else was running?
Mm. Yeah, for the most part, the G zone for Aqua Force, especially if you're playing from Thavas, it's really similar to what I do for my builds. I wanted to keep like two jumbo just in case the edge case where like everything doesn't go as planned and you just play G Aqua Force basically. So you rely on jumbo, and if you need a second one, it's there. Valeos actually was very important too because it would run into the issue that sometimes people would still not give you too much damage even the turn after you could pop off, and you can't really just like finish them off, and sometimes they also tend to stay low at damage. So then Valeos says basically, hey, let me call a field, draw some more cards, but then I can lock you at 11k and not have to worry about any triggers, including the over trigger. So it's a lot more the best of both worlds in that sense using Valeos. And so I think I used Valeos like 3 times in the event too, and one of them was in the finals, and then that was my final turn on top of that too. So other than that, the G zone's pretty standard for the most part.
Yeah, yeah. I figure with Gen Bold being in the G zone, it's just a very strong card. You've heard me say my pros and cons about how the card is. Definitely good in the meta right now because of cards like Stunverse running around to help you get a field back. But
Hmm. Yeah,
but I don't know if I told you this. I've always praised Valios as a card. Just people never liked him because it's like, he doesn't get his power lock until GB3 and all that. It's still a
basically, yeah.
strong card, and
Hmm.
I had to tell you that he gets around Ghidorah. You just call cards from your hand, you draw, and it's just like, hey, look, I still do Aqua Force shit. What do you got, Ghidorah? I'm like, hey, look, I'm trying to. You're not supposed to do that. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm very proud that you got first place with this build. It was definitely an emotional um, day for both of us.
Oh, thanks. I always appreciate that. Yeah, I got really emotional. For those that weren't there, I got to the finals. I was like, holy crap! Like as soon as I won my top four game, and it was against Norakami as well. Um, as soon as I won that, it hit me. I was like, holy crap! I just automatically now qualify for Worlds, right? And then in the finals, it's like if I lose, I still go to Worlds, but like it would be great to finally get the win in, right? And I'm just when I got it in, it was just super helpful, and I had a great time against Ty Smith too, because he's always a great friend, a great guy too, very energetic. I love his enthusiasm. Um, so it was one of those moments where like this is cool. This is where you tell your friends, see you in the finals, and one of your friends does make it with you, and you get to face off, which is really heartwarming in the sense too. So I'm pretty sure I teared.
Oh,
I think Ross saw my
you're
face.
about to cry. I called you out on that. I was like, bro, I've known you since high school. I've never seen those tears in those eyes before. You little bitch, man up. Put those tears back into your eyes.
Yeah, and it's really more because I had this nagging feeling inside me that it's like you're so close, but you still haven't done it yet.
Yeah,
And I think most people can relate to that, whether it be at a big event or just topping in general. Like if you're ninth place, for example, or 33 place if there was top 32 or something like that. Like there's that nagging feeling where like you're so close but you haven't done it yet, kind of feeling. So
Yeah, yeah, and I did give it my all at that event. I was definitely trying to get up there with you so I could fight you, even though I know that that's just a losing battle. It would have been nice to have caught you at a big event like that, besides Bro and all that.
true, true.
On to the next question. What? Ah, it is you. Oh no, phone, no, wake up. Oh no, phone, please. Thank you. There we go. What was? Shut up, you. What was the hardest? What was the hardest and or favorite match of the BCS that you had, or stuck out the most to you?
Mm. So I had some interesting matchups, but if I were to pick maybe two, because one was like the hardest and then the other one was the most funnest. The most funnest was the finals with Ty. It was just a fun time. At that point, we're at a point like we did it. Doesn't matter what happens, let's do our best. And it's literally ripples against Norakami. So it's just like a back and forth between two clans that just, naturally hate each other, I guess, in their own mechanics. Um, the hardest matchup, ironically, and I think you'd be surprised to hear this as well, is against Regalia.
I noticed that. I noticed that when I peeked over, and I remember telling you, I watched you start your turn. There's a guy standing next to me like, oh boy, they're both almost at that guy. What's gonna happen? And I'm like, oh, he's run the Legion, mate. And he's like, you sure about that? I'm like, look, I know this guy for years. He's probably got the thing in his and here you are. I ride the Ripple Legion. I'm like, yep, and the game's done. I walk away. I come back in your deck, and I'm like, what the hell happened? What happened? Walk me through it more.
Yeah, to give you some context, so it started. First off, a shout out to my opponent. His name is Evan. He's also friends from the Chicago area. I believe he lives in Indiana. And I faced him in Bro too, in V Premium. So it was pretty cool just to meet him in person after Bro. And so the biggest thing was that he called Hanali on grade 2 turn immediately. And I was like, okay, I can deal with that. I just need to find a Thabas or I need to get into Gembold and I can get rid of it, right? He was very smart. And as soon as he plopped it down, he made it where I think he called either Norn or the Norn, the Thrud, right
Oh
too, that
no.
actually gave it a divine gauge. And so I
Oh
was like,
no.
okay. So then finally when he got to Angelica, I still didn't see Thalos yet, and Angelica gives resist to anything that has gauges, including the Hanali. And it gets worse. I think that turn or the next turn after that, he calls the second Hanali.
That's one way to tell
So
you to sit the fuck down.
yeah, so he had two in the back row for the rest of the game, and it was really awkward because we were both also kind of like damage denying to an extent when it made sense. So we were at low damage for a while. We healed like twice too, both of us. So it was kind of weird at the same time where it's like we're in the strike turns already like where you would expect like kill turns like for Minerva, and we're both at like 1 or 2 damage still. Um, if not less. And then also it's just like me really calculating my battles because the rear guards can attack, but then like I would like use my Vanguard to attack as the fifth battle because then I still don't have to pay Counter Blast yet for Hanali. And I even noticed that he had Idrissel, so I would like poke at the Idrissel first, and I noticed he would like actually guard with it. And me being a Regalia player, that means that I don't have the second one, more than likely. So that means that I can keep hitting it, even though I can't retire with the effects, I can still attack it and kill it over. And I even use Gembol to attack it, and he still like let it die finally after that point. But at that point, I was able to like not give him damage more to get another one and get another Norn with a counterblast and all that kind of stuff. So it was a back and forth, and that's why we got so close to deck out because like we just couldn't really finish the turns just yet. And yes, I did Legion. And I tried putting back my heal triggers because I was at 5 damage and he was at 3 and time was called. So then we're at turn 0, 1, 2, 3, blah blah blah. And so I was hoping to do some pressure and then heal twice on my drive track if possible. So I would go back to 3 on top of that. And then now I have heal triggers and I can G guard on top of that to like still survive. And I think I had like 1 or 2 perfect guards in my hand to deal with the Minerva attack. Because you need a perfect guard for the Vanguard because the Vanguard's like way too big. And I think even before then he hit me with Minerva and I would have gone four. What is it? No, I would have gone 2 to 4. No, 2 to 6 damage because he ripped double crit on top of being forced to, and one of my triggers was a heal trigger, so I was able to stay at 5 and survive that still. So it was really intense back and forth, but he got it, and so I just appreciate the time that we had, and also just being able to fight against somebody like that. Evan's definitely what I would call a high caliber player too, and I'm just grateful just to have the matchup too, and I learned a lot from that too, as well, just from a regalia side of things too.
It would have been extremely hilarious if the turn you rode Legion. He's like, "Huh, you know what's funny? I ride Yggdrasil Legion, Legion Norn." I'm like,
Oh yeah,
"Bruh, he just smacked you in the face with
bro.
Legion Norn. How do you feel?"
All right.
That would have made the game even better, in my opinion. Like, haha,
That was.
plot twist of the century. You thought I was running
Mhm.
4V Norns. Joke on you. I had 3Vs in the OG one.
Mhm. And one of the things that it really came down to the last two cards in my deck, or yeah, last two cards in my deck, and then even though I use a card like Nikki to return the Legion Leader, I was gonna try to do it again, but Nikki is a mandatory soul charge. So then, I think no, I had one card left in deck after I drew my card. So then, even though I put the Legion Leader, it's like, oh, I have two cards in my deck, but then I'm like, oh no, mandatory soul charge, so I'm back to one, and I can't
Yikes.
just Odysseus the Legion Leader out of deck and write it because now I have 0 cards in deck, and then I just lose basically. So yeah.
Why can't I get lucky like that with you? Just our fun game. No, it's just bully beat down Mega Colony with Aqua Force.
So it came down to the wire. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that was a very intense game. I walked over, I'm like, alright, cool, he's gonna Legion again, right? Attack? Wait, Jamie, there's something wrong here. Where's the Legion? I literally walked over to your one card in deck, I'm like, oh, he's just gonna do it again, right? No, he's not. Oh god, he's dying. That I wish I would have had watched the rest of that game when you legioned, but I legit thought that was, I thought you had to close there. That's why I walked away when you did that.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know if I could have finished it, but I could have attempt to like survive, but I don't know what. Honestly, I felt like he still won it regardless, even if I pulled it off again, the Legion.
yeah, yeah, I'll be honest, I did not see the Hanalees on his board if they were still sitting there when he did the lead, so that's probably
Oh yeah,
why.
and then bad boys have 1 or 2 divine gauges on them too.
and I
they,
and I
they
and,
weren't going
and
anywhere.
I truly think that's what it was. Is that I didn't see the Hanleys. I just saw your board state. I'm like, nah, he's got
Mhm.
it. It's done. It's like 13 attacks. I'm walking away from this.
I saw his deck log after the event, and he only played 2, so he saw the 2 right on the
Wow,
perfect
in a deck
matchup.
that soul
I was like,
charges.
nice.
That's that's
That's true. Right.
brutal. That's
I called him from
brutal.
hand each time. I was like, man, he perfect, man.
Do you have
This
to
is definitely
counterblast for
for you.
Hanley?
Yeah, but he would use the counterblast anyway with cards like Norn, and then call the Hanali afterwards.
Then it'd just be a free call. Interesting.
Yep. Do it with Idrisil. Yeah, you just do it afterwards, and it's free basically.
Interesting. I actually had no idea. I never played Hanley.
Mhm.
Next question. Besides the deck text and your mindset, what else was your favorite thing about BCS?
I think also just like being around the people. It's one of the things that COVID has kind of like took away from us a little bit. Virtual is great, and I love Bro. There's a lot of benefits in that too, especially with the flexibility and being able to play so many tournaments in a weekend. But it's always nice to see your friends in person. It's also nice to meet the fans because I am a YouTuber, so I do have people that approach me and say hi, and I always love to meet new people. I do my best to remember their names too. So if I ask people like, "Hey, can I ask you for your name again?" Sorry, there's a lot of people that talk to me, and it's just always humbling just to hear people like, "Hey, because of your content, I'm a better player in this," or "Hey, I actually played your deck build, and I really liked how you explained it," and things like that. Like I appreciate hearing that because it lets me know to keep doing what I'm doing, and just to seeing the amazing support too. I appreciate this Vanguard community a lot because it is positive for the most part, especially if you compare it to other trading card games like maybe Yu-Gi-Oh
Yu-Gi-Oh.
or Magic or something. And I think a lot of us come from Yu-Gi-Oh, and I love the game Yu-Gi-Oh still. I play it once in a while with like Ross over here, Duke. But Vanguard still has a special place in my heart, and it's just even as I was getting to the Swiss rounds, like oh my God, Jaime's undefeated. Like get into top eight, and these are people that are either close to me, once in a while talk to me, or people that I just met that same day. And so all the support's there, and then even to the point where people stay to watch me in the finals with Ty as well. And I know some of you were hungry too by the time
I
we
was
were trying to wrap
hangry.
things up.
I was hangry tired, but I
Right.
wanted you to
But you
like
guys,
go as far as you
but
can.
everybody stayed. So, yeah,
And
so it
also,
was
you were
really
my
humbling.
ride, so I couldn't just dip. I was like, God
That's
damn it,
true.
I want to go, but
So I would
but
say
my
the
driver
people actually.
is potentially taking it.
True, true. I know, right? Um, I was gonna say best Uber driver, right?
Best Uber driver in the world, right there.
So yeah, that's one of the funnest things, is just get the people, meet the people, and take pictures, make memories. That's really what it's about.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the post on Facebook. I don't know who said it in Vanguardians, but we need to ban
Mhm.
hats. Ban hats from BCS events. They're broken. You're
Oh, ban hats because all
yeah,
like the people wearing hats.
yeah, yeah. Because what was it like? I think it was like 3 or 4 of the top eights in premium were all wearing hats, and 2 of them
Yep.
topped. They're broken. Secret techniques.
Secrets in the hat.
You know what? Maybe that's why I didn't do that good. I could have found my grandfather's hat, so I didn't have the luckiness. I was hatless that day.
Oh,
No.
yeah. That's a
It
trend.
is a trend. I'll have to follow said trend.
Mhm.
Um, next question. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Oh gosh, so many. And I mean, obviously, all my friends that have helped me with practice, support, yourself as well, the Axis Vanguard crew, Force of the Ocean, um, just even like close people that really helped me with the second strong opinion too, like Noman here from, and then also David Adi Pratama, also known as We Rep from WCC. Those are players that I appreciated because I bounced questions with them with ripples too. And then just even the people at the event like Ty, Outer Orange, TCG, Coca Corin I met, and a couple other fans too, and many, many more too. And congrats to Lie by Night and also Dustin for topping. And I think it was Lie by Night's first top too as well. So that's always exciting to get your first top. It's just very humbling to see that. And then of course my wife Christina and my brother Alejandro for being supportive at a distance and doing their best to understand a card game, but still being supportive. So I always appreciate that too.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Mhm.
definitely his first event because I specifically remember him saying, it's my first time being at a big event like this and going like 6-1 with
He
this
went X
deck
one,
was.
yeah,
Yeah, he went X1, and that kind of caught me off guard.
it's really
First
good.
time in 6-1, especially with the deck he was playing.
Yep,
And then I saw Dustin got fourth in B Premium.
yep.
Congrats to him. Like I was not expecting that, especially in the Gear Chronicle meta. The Gear Chronicle just made a complete
Oh yeah, V
one,
Premium, yeah.
like fucking 360, like not 360.
You made him.
Yeah, 180. Oh, we were good in G. Now let's be good in V. And,
And it took
and
the time leap mechanic to make it good
took the
again.
time leap into a different timeline. Now Gear Chronicles popping up in Overdress, and it's just gonna fucking time leap into there and just wreak havoc.
Mm.
Not really. I'm just. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that one.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, there's only so much they can do with it. I feel like with the new R&D team, they'll be able to keep
They
the
know what they're
balance of
doing
that.
at this
Yeah.
point.
Final question as of right now. Probably more, probably not. Who knows what the hell happens with. Um,
Sure.
what do you plan on taking to Worlds after the ban list of Frippos gets hits in any way?
Good question. So I know we're gonna get a couple sets. I know we're getting set 6 soon. So there might be some exploration for that too. But since I'm playing premium, as of right now, I would probably lean back to Fabas. If I have extra time, I might look into other decks too. I mean, it seems that Norakami might not get hit. I could always play Norakami just to play it. But I would say
Bro.
Thalos would be a a safe bet for sure. I mean, there's always room to like explore other decks too. So, and it's Christmas break before the World, so I would have more time to even like try out different decks and then get them physically to participate with too.
Fair enough. With Worlds, is it just the people that got the invite, or can like people local still go to that event?
You have to be invited out. So even though if let's say somebody goes but they're not invited to the actual Worlds tournament, they cannot participate.
Okay, no, okay, no, I wasn't too sure because my mom was asking me about that when I told her that you had the invite. She was like, "Can other people go?" I'm like, "That's a good question. I gotta ask him that.
Yeah.
I actually don't know."
Yeah, it has to be people that well, I'm sure you can invite your friends over, but they can't play in the tournament.
Like
It's only
after
the
the
people that
tournament and
have
all
invite.
that.
Yeah,
That's fair.
yeah.
That's fair because it wouldn't be fair if people from California just like dogpiled on the event and then just like
Right.
ruin
Like it's another
everybody's
BCS basically.
invitations and
Yeah.
all that. And you got people like Solemn Vanguard, uh, Top Deck Heroes. Please tell me I said that
Yeah.
right.
Hello. Yep.
You got Top Deck Heroes and a couple of other people who got their invites. Congrats to them. I mean, I don't know them. I know you know them better than me, but congrats to them getting their tops and invites and all that.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to see them in person too. So that'd be a
Lucky.
first for everybody. I'll take plenty of pictures. It's in the back.
All right. Um, if you want my personal opinion, I feel like you should just stick to Aquaforce because the clan, bows.
Yeah.
Don't go
I
pick
want
up
to have fun too,
Narukami.
but I want to have fun with it too. Like, and I feel like I just have a good time with Aquaforce regardless.
Exactly, exactly.
So yeah,
I
but
feel
I'm
like
also like part of me like I always have my eyes open just in case. But who
yeah,
knows? I
no,
mean,
yeah,
just for a
yeah,
couple
no. It's always
months.
nice to yeah, it's always nice to have your eyes open on other stuff. But I
Mhm.
feel like for Worlds, because it's such a big thing, even me, I wouldn't pick up Narukami one. Holy shit, Stunverse needs to settle down in price value, being like $100 card for its SVR, and two, uh, you should just go in with the clan and or deck that you feel the most comfortable with and you know will get you far where
Yeah.
you won't second guess your
Yeah,
move.
absolutely. Yeah. Honestly, if things don't really change for the like a lot, I might end up doing Thalos anyway.
I feel like Thava still has it because the whole ride on you can stride deny them.
Yeah, it's still
Uh,
solid. Yeah, it
it,
just
it, it
ripples
is
right
still
now. It's
solid,
kind of
and unless and unless like with the new ban list, if we get the update stride rule, like how Thailand has it to where if a grade 3 was seen at all, even if they ride back down, you can still stride. But with the ban list, I feel like we're going to get a copy and paste of the ban list just with a few more cards because TCG takes premium more seriously than
um,
OCG.
yeah, I could see that.
So maybe there might be a Narukami hit with some other decks getting a little love tap on the wrist. But
Right.
definitely Mystery Flare Dragon and Odysseus are going to be the
On
biggest
there.
hits. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Totally agree.
Does oh boy, you gave me no testing against ripples, and Jesus, I got the ass shit beat out of me. It was a good game though. I sat there against Kevin. I'm like, ah, all right. I watched him draw a shit ton of cards. I counted every card out of his deck. I was like, 26 out of deck. I think I can do it. I brought him down to under 10. I went overwhelm. I drew 7. He was amazed and impressed with everything. And he's like, I'm like, pass, you're at 3. What are you going to do? He's like, ride Valios. So like, oh no, I'm in danger.
Yeah.
And he's like, do Odysseus shit. I'm like, oh no. Well, he's still at 3. So what is he going to call damage inflict? I'm like, that's a card that exists for Aquaforce. I'm dead. And there's nothing I can do. But it was just a great time overall with him, even though it was my first time facing Ripples. I do like Kevin
Yeah.
Cho. I don't get to see him as much.
He's
Uh,
a really good player too.
oh yeah, no, definitely a fantastic guy. Everybody I faced there was fantastic to play. Uh,
Hmm.
but that's neither here nor there. That's in the past. I do hope to see everybody in future events. And one day I do want to travel. Maybe me and you can travel to other BCS one day, just for
Yeah.
fun.
That'd be pretty cool. Definitely open to it.
Yeah, I'm glad you're open to it. Just gotta find the time.
Look it up. Yeah, exactly. The details. Awesome. Cool.
It's already hard enough to get a hold of you. Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
Mhm.
What made you decide to what's the wording now? The book. What made you want to make a book?
Mm, gotcha.
Or is this like
Can
hush hush secret?
you give me a second, Russ? Let me respond to this person.
Yeah.
Give me 10 minutes. A Metafy session actually in a bit, but
Oh
yeah.
Jesus, Jamie, if I knew that.
Oh,
Would
no
have
worries.
dallied the book.
Oh no, this is good. This could be the final question. Sophie
Oh,
just got up.
hi
Let me
Sophie.
get her. Go. There we go.
I had no idea you had the floof ball in your room until I saw that jumped off your bed.
Yeah, she was sleeping here. She likes her
Oh,
spots sometimes, so she moves.
fair
But
enough.
yeah, for the book, so it's been almost in 2 years in the making. It's definitely more of a passion. I just wanted to see. I guess it started off with like obviously I do blog articles, and there's always a medium to properly get a point across. So I felt like Grand Blue was a great clan for a blog because there's so much in-depthness, and that can be really dived into a blog really nicely. And over time, I felt like there were things that people kept asking me about, like, what's some things that you as a top player keep in mind? Like, how do you stay mentally stable or emotionally stable? Or what are some things that you would suggest or something? Like, these questions kept coming up. And that's part of the reason why I even do Metafy coaching is because I can be more one on one and actually help them out, right? But I felt like even the book was also a good resource for anybody that wanted to actually improve as a player, and especially if they want to top at event and regionals, for example, or locals, whatever the goal is, that they're looking for content to improve their game. They're looking on YouTube, they're searching the internet, whatever it may be, and I felt like there was a lot of stuff to really put together, and I felt like that a book would actually just encompass it all together much more well. And because sometimes if you have blogs and stuff, you can chain different articles, but each you kind of can make a series or a course or something like that. But honestly, I felt like it was a good time to really just write a book about it. And I thought it was kind of crazy at first too, because I'm like, holy crap, am I legitimately writing a book about something related to Vanguard, you know? And the first person that comes to mind, especially if you came from Yu-Gi-Oh, is Patrick Hoban, and he made his Road to the King book. And I read that book at least twice now, and it is a 400-page book, but I went through it, and
Dear
there was
God, have mercy.
yeah, there was some frameworks, there was a lot of detail that he put into, but I got some good value from that still, and I felt like with the way I write blog articles, I can still take the way that I do that into a book, and I think the book's probably going to come out to maybe like 160 pages, nothing like crazy,
Well, you
right?
might want to increase that a little more after today. Or not
Maybe a
today, but
couple
after the
pages.
Rosemont event.
Right, maybe a couple pages, but I think it's a good size because there's a couple of things to talk about, and the book's gonna help with that. I don't want to give too much detail yet until things are more solidified,
Of course.
but I talk about stuff that honestly is gonna be that's overlooked often. And I think there's gonna be some people that be eye opening, like, wait, what? I didn't even think about that. And there are things that are not even about the card game itself too, that actually matters. And some people are gonna be more curious, like, what does that even entail? And that's when you have to like find out when the book comes out.
No, no, and that's completely fair and understandable. I don't want you to spoil too much about your book, but
Mhm.
me personally, I feel like you should make it, if possible, make it a few more pages longer to include the Rosemont event, and kind of like,
Yes.
and because Worlds is until what, December or January.
Yes.
So yeah, so you could have like the final chapter to be the Rosemont event to seal off the year.
Yeah, definitely. And there's some teaching examples that I can use, from that experience. Because at the end of the day, I think some people relate to stories, and even stories can be helpful for people to kind of learn from them too, as well, for themselves.
I agree with that. I could definitely agree, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't have any other questions that are coming to my head right now, and I do. And as you stated, you have a Medify the thingy coming up soon.
Second.
That shit coming up soon. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. Good luck with that, and we should definitely try to meet up and get some more testing in with another build in case Odysseus gets hit.
Yes,
Go from there.
definitely. I will be playtesting soon enough, especially once that goes into effect.
Well, I mean, of course, and like I told you at Rosemont, uh, I've watched you grow from a casual player
Mhm.
because you weren't taking this competitively at first, and
Correct.
here you are now.
Yeah. So thanks again for having me for the interview. I can't interview myself, and I appreciate you for even just doing the idea too. On top of that, so thanks, Ross, also known as Duke Cardfight. So for those, check out his channel. He has a lot of great content with Mega Colony and Stokia in general. So definitely just check out his content.
Thank you, and I'll put your link in description. I'll put your links in the description below for your Metafy and all the other stuff that you need to send me. Cause dear God, you have too many all over the place. And
It's all good.
I'm still trying to figure out Twitter.
It's all good. Thanks again. See you,
All
amigos.
right,
Bye.
bye.